In this video, we're going to talk about how to motivate your teenager so that they'll be ready to apply to an Ivy League college. Now, we all know that getting into a good school is really important for your career. It opens doors and it gives you options down the road if you want to work for a top company, if you want to apply to a top graduate school. We know that going to a good school gives you some distinct advantages, but it's a bit more nuanced than that. So I really want to break this video down into two components. First, I want to give you some perspective on why going to the most competitive school might not be in the best interest of your child. And I'm going to give you a few specific examples. And then we're going to flip the script and talk about why going to a good school is really important and some things you can do to motivate your child. And so I just want to give you both perspectives so that you have some perspective on the situation and you realize that ultimately what you're looking for is the best fit for your child. So let's start out by looking at why going to the most competitive school possible might not be in the best interest of your child. Let's say your child is a decent student in high school, not great, and they're not terribly motivated, but somehow they manage to get into a really good school like UC Berkeley, which is the top-ranked public school in the nation. So let's say your child wants to go into computer science because that's a great job market, and they get to Berkeley and they start taking these intro to computer science classes. And they quickly find out that they're surrounded by students who are geniuses. They're incredibly smart, and on top of that, they're incredibly motivated. They're just high-functioning students who know what they want to do. And so these classes that they're taking are incredibly hard. The bar is very high. And so while some of their peers are managing to get A's and B's in these really tough classes, your student is only getting C's and D's or maybe failing. And this is working every day on homework, working every night, working weekends, putting in everything they've got, and they're still barely getting by. And you have to know that a lot of schools do this on purpose. Those introductory classes are meant to weed out 50% or more of students who just lack the motivation or lack the academic scholarship to succeed. They want to do that. And at UC Berkeley, for example, if you want to major in computer science, you have to maintain a B+ average in those introductory courses. If you don't, you can't select it as a major. So it's designed to weed out weaker students. And so if your student was gung-ho on majoring in computer science because they really want to have a career doing something with software, they want to work for Apple, suddenly they're discouraged because mentally they can't keep up with their peers. And they realize, wow, I do not have what it takes to succeed in this field. But secondarily, they actually can't major in that discipline because they don't have high enough marks. So they're going to have to major in something else. And another way this can become a problem is a big part of your college experience is building your resume with extracurricular activities. So for example, you need to have really good research on your resume. So let's say your child is in this computer science major, barely getting by, and then the professor says, oh, I've got this great research opportunity. I'm accepting applications now. So maybe 50 students from the class apply, and your child is one of them. Guess who's going to get that research position? It's not going to be the kid who's getting C's or D's or barely getting by. It's going to be the top performers. So now your student is going to miss out on those key opportunities because they're in a school that's hyper-competitive, they're in a field that's hyper-competitive, and they don't stand out. And they're not going to be the ones who snag those research positions. It's the same thing with summer internships, which is another key component of building your college resume. You want to do a summer internship at Google. And so you submit your application and they've got 100 applications from Berkeley. Which students are they going to take? Maybe they can take 5. They're not going to take the student, they're going to look at your GPA, and they're not going to take the student who's struggling, and they're not going to take the student who doesn't have any research experience, and they're not going to take the student who doesn't have a glowing teacher recommendation. They're going to give those choice coveted internships to the best students, the students who are thriving. So you can see how unless you're thriving at college, you start to sink lower and lower. And it's not only emotionally demoralizing, but from a career perspective, it's actually detrimental because even though you've got that name on your resume, I'm a Berkeley student, it's not translating into anything because you keep missing out on opportunities because of it. And you compare this with if you decided to go to a school that was maybe a better fit for you. It was less competitive. So maybe it's Tulane, which is an excellent school, but not elite, right? You go to a good school that isn't hyper competitive, where you're not surrounded by hyper competitive, hyper motivated students. They're more normal. In this type of situation, you might be able to thrive. You might be able to get A's and A minuses in your computer science classes. So you actually do get to major in computer science. And then when there's internship opportunities or research opportunities that come up, you're one of the best students. You're a big fish in a small pond. And all of that translates into career success. Because when you then go to apply to a job after graduation, they see, oh, straight A student, excellent research, opportunities, great internships, glowing recommendations. They were a big fish in a small pond, and it looks great. Yes, the name on your resume is slightly less prestigious, but it doesn't matter. It's a good school, and you made the most of your opportunities, and you stood out like a rock star. By going to a school that's a better fit for you, a school where you'll be challenged, but you can still thrive, is actually much better for you, not only emotionally, but practically from a career perspective. All right, now let's talk about what to do when your high school student is not motivated or not performing at a high level, how you can convince them to take their studies seriously so that they do get into a really good school. And here, it's not just about getting into the best school possible. It's about having options, right? The better you do in high school, the more options you'll have available to you. And you can pick and choose the school that's the best fit for you. Right now, when you're in high school, you think that this is the most important time of your life and you're always going to remember it. But the truth is, from a career perspective, what you do in high school in a few years from now won't matter at all. If you were the, quarterback of the football team, it won't matter. It'll never come up again. If you were the most popular kid in school, that won't matter in a few years. If you were best dressed or went to the best parties or the worst dressed or didn't go to any parties, none of that will matter. Once you go to college, the only thing that people are concerned about is where you went to college and what you did afterwards. When you apply to a job, when you apply to med school, no one ever asks what you were like in high school. They don't care. It's irrelevant. So when you're in high school, you need to think that my primary job is starting my professional life, is starting my adult life, and that starts with college. And everything I do in high school will set me up for where I can go to college. And that's really the job. It's setting you up for where you can go to college. And you want to be in the driver's seat. You want to have options. You want to have some control over that process so that doors aren't closed on you because, oh, you don't have enough grades, good enough grades, or you don't have enough extracurriculars, or you wasted too much time. Then you're kind of pigeonholed into schools you don't want to go to, with programs that you don't want to go to. You want to have options. And the best way to do that is to really take control of your education in high school and say, I'm going to establish myself as an academic scholar because I'm going to prove to all these colleges that no matter what course you've put in front of me, I will figure out a way to do really well. And I'm going to show these colleges that I'm hungry for challenges. I'm going to sign up for as many honors or even better AP classes as I can because I want these colleges to know, yes, I'm ready for college level work. That's what AP courses are. They're meant to be college level work. The best way to prove to colleges that you're ready for that is to demonstrate in high school. I took AP level classes and I did well in all of them. Even if they were hard, that doesn't matter. I figured out a way to do well. Everything you're doing in high school is just to get you into the best colleges possible so that you have a good choice of the one that's the best fit for you. So in conclusion, I would say that if you're trying to motivate your child to get into a top school, first, be mindful of the fact that getting into the hardest schools in the nation are not necessarily in your child's best interest. Ultimately, you want to go to the best school where you can flourish, and that's really the happy medium that you're looking for. And then the other side of this is that sometimes it can be helpful to motivate high school students to let them know that their high school career, all 4 years of that, is really an audition for something much more important, which is where they go to college and where they start studying. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions for me, I'll provide my email in the video description, and feel free to leave a comment or reach out to me directly.